What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going through a bunch of games and deciding whether or not we want to keep them or cull them.
I don't like that name.
Keep what, cull?
Keep what? Right.
I guess cull does sound very violent. I think like mass slaughter. I think mass slaughter, or I think like Kevin Sorbo's Cull the Conqueror. These are the two things I think when I hear the word cull. I don't know, what else do you want?
Something better.
Treasure and trash. We're going to decide whether or not we're going to treasure and game or trash and game. Tabletop turtles, treasure and trash. First up, we have Creature Caravan. This is...
A treasure.
No, you have to have suspense. You have to build up. You don't just say treasure right away.
Oh.
What the hell?
Treasure, so.
Okay, well, at least let me introduce the game. This is Creature Caravan. In Creature Caravan, players build a card tableau of creatures while traveling through a dangerous land. Players take turns simultaneously, placing dice on actions on their cards, moving their caravan on the map, and playing new creature cards. The player with the most points is the winner. This is definitely the surprise hit of the year. I was not expecting much when I first played this game, and then when we played it once, and then I was like, I gotta play it again. And then I gotta play it again.
Because he lost the first few times.
I didn't lose the first time, yes. I didn't want redemption.
First few times, don't lie.
But I did want, redemption aside, I did want to keep playing. There was just something about it that I just found very charming, very engaging. You know, the mechanics, they're really well done. It's all relatively simple, but here I'm okay with that.
When we first started playing this game, when we first got this game, I thought it would be something more for kids. Maybe it's the artwork and how cute and cartoony it is.
Yeah, it's definitely his best art.
I thought it'd be light, very light and easy, but it also has layers to it. And there are some parts about it that are slightly luck dependent, and there are other parts that make you feel like, wow, I'm really smart because I did this stuff together.
Yeah, the whole game just goes together really smoothly, and the fact that it plays simultaneously means that, well, okay, I will spoil it here. I guess you already spoiled it. I want to keep it too. I want to treasure it. Is that what we decided?
We will treasure it.
We're both gonna treasure it because it just makes sense because it plays at all player counts. I can whip this out when it's just 2 people. I whip this out when it's, what does it play, up to 5? And when there's 5 people, like it's really well done. It's got a high
whip-about-ability score.
No, what? Whip-about-ability? Yeah, that's right. It's high on the whip-about-ability score. Yeah, it's just a solid game, and I really love it. I just did my tier ranking list pretty recently, and I didn't rate this game. I think I give it an S. I was waiting between an A and an S, but I think it's an S-ranked game. I really like it.
Yeah, it's one of those games. I think we knew it was going to be simultaneous play before we got the game, and so we expected it would be like a little dry because like we love playing board games for the social component of it, but something about this game...
There's no interaction here.
I don't know. There's no interaction in the turns, but throughout the game you are looking at other people's play boards and you're looking at the trade board and you're looking at different things. And something with this game, we put on some good music and we all just got focused on our thing and everybody loved it. Everyone that played it loved it.
Yeah, I'm always fine with games that don't have interaction provided they're able to provide me a puzzle that's like interesting enough to solve and they don't overstay its welcome. And this game plays in like 30 minutes. So like I don't care. I don't care that there's no interaction. I have my fun. We're going to keep this one. Let's move on to the next one. Up next is Explorers of Nooria. Explorers of Nooria sees players on an adventure to explore new continents that have emerged. You'll build settlements on these continents, craft supplies and items for your adventure, and collaborate with various races of Nooria to aid in your exploration. Draft cards, move up tracks, rinse and repeat until the end of the 3rd round, where you all turn around at the table and ask each other if what you just played was a board game. So, what do we think? Do we think we should treasure it or trash it? Trash.
Trash for me as well.
Trash.
It's not a bad game.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just not good. It's not good and it's boring. It's really boring. If you want a more in-depth opinions of this game, you can watch our review of it, but it's pretty damn boring.
The deeper you go into the world of board games, the more games you play and the more similarities you find between games, and it is really hard to stand out. When there's so many games, it's really hard to stand out.
It is.
And I think if you didn't have the collection of board games, it could be great. It's got some unique features. It's really easy to play.
It's a great back-of-the-box blurb. If you've never played any of their board games, this is a good game. The difficulty is that like there's just not a lot of player agency in this game. Like you take your turns and everything feels pretty scripted. Like my turns feel obvious. When you go and you do the second portion of the game where you have the worker placement portion, there's like these 3 tiers of places. First, you don't really select. You're just selecting from like these little discs, and you're just matching the colors. But then it's like a tier system of like, okay, do I select this worker action, this worker action, this worker action? It's just descending in value. So the choice is really obvious. Choice is always obvious. And even when I'm drafting cards, I'm not selecting from the entire group. I'm just pulling out from a bag, taking 2 discs and being like, yeah, and I'm saying like, okay, I guess I'll take this one and not the other one.
Yeah, you're right.
All the tracks are the same. Like the game doesn't even disguise itself that it's just moving up tracks. The tracks are the same.
There is this is one of those games where it's simple, but there's no deeper strategy.
No.
You know, there is a very clear, this is the strategy to win, the end. And so every time you play, it's the same game.
Yeah.
It's the same game again and again, versus some other games where you can approach it differently each time you play, and it's well balanced. There's no one very clear way to win. You could win through doing different things, and just the execution of how you do those different things. This is a very straightforward game without many layers of complexity, and so it's not great.
No, there's not much discussion that needs to be had about this game. Like I said, if you want to watch the review, watch the review. We kind of trash on the game. But, we want to thank the publisher for sending it to us. Thank you. Sorry. But we don't like it.
It was a good experience, but it probably would benefit if we had kids or a younger audience.
Sure.
People that were deep into board games. Yeah, this is a great game to pull out for them.
Yeah, people suffering from brain damage, whatever. Okay, trash. And up next is Spectral, Deduction. In Spectral, players control treasure hunters, moving around the haunted manor to deduce and uncover treasure using secretly revealed clues, while also doing their best to avoid demonic curses. But uncovering that treasure is not enough. Treasure hunters need to make sure they have enough men in that area to take that treasure from other players once the game ends. All right, so what do we think of Spectral? Do we want to keep it on our shelves? Treasure, trash, treasure. Yeah.
Double thumbs up for me.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest deduction fan, but I do like this one. I do like the fact that it plays so incredibly quickly, and there's a bit more of a game attached to the deduction component. A lot of times you have Search for Planet Unknown is good, Planet X, is good, but sometimes it doesn't feel like a board game. Like sometimes just feels like a deduction puzzle. This one, because it has not necessarily area control, but the little men that you move around and you're trying to outbeat other people, it's interesting. And plus you can really read other players. And I think that's the part I like the most.
Read other players?
It's like
read me.
There's more like social deduction is what I'm saying than just like deducing the mechanics of the game. You're deducing the actions of other players as well. So it's like this layer of deduction that I really appreciate.
I freaking love this game. I love deduction games in general. I love Search for Planet X. I don't know. I like to think it makes me feel very smart. There's something about these games that really feel like it's some interesting puzzle. Something about the structure in which they're placed in different rows, and then you're trying to figure out which row is which. And so you're trying to eliminate the possibility of which, what they call it, curse is in which location. It's simple but creative enough that it leads to a fantastic game every time.
Yeah, it's a really solid game. I enjoy it. And it's just easy to teach, like super easy to teach. So it's definitely something that we think we should keep in our collection just because it has a wide audience of people that I think will enjoy it. So this will be treasured. Up next, we have Quartermaster General. In Quartermaster General, players team up as the Axis or allies to fight across the world with fun card play where each nation has its own unique set of cards to marshal their forces and attack others on a shared map and gain victory points. So what do we think about Quartermaster General? We actually played this really, really recently, so that's why I kind of brought it to the block because previous to that time, it hadn't been played for like 3 years, I think. All right, so 3, 2, 1, treasure. What the hell does that mean?
Neutral.
That's not that you have to pick one. It's a binary. You can't go in between. Well, it doesn't matter. You're overruled. We're keeping it.
War games, but I do feel like this game was really good, and it was particularly good at a player count of 6 players.
Yeah, but it also has a team dynamic, which you don't see in games. So
I'm a solo player.
Well, I think it's pretty fun to have like 3 people on one side, 3 people on the other side. There's enough depth here that you can really sink your teeth into it, but there's not so much that you can overwhelm new players who have never played before. Because if you're trying to gun for a 6-person audience, the chances are you're going to get a fairly mixed audience. You're going to have people who are really good at games, and people who are like pretty new to games, and you can pitch this to either camp. And even though it's war, it's pretty light. Like it's pretty light and it's pretty easy breezy, and you don't feel ganged up on because you are sharing your loss and your win with a team. I think there's some games that you can have in your collection that with you have the full knowledge that it's not something you're going to be able to whip out every year maybe. You know that it's going to be a very specific game for a very specific audience at a very specific time. It's like Twilight Imperium, you can't whip that all the time. Same thing with Quartermaster General. You need 6 players and you need people who love being on a team. So for that, it fits that purpose really well, so it will be kept.
I will call it board game cafe game.
It can be, yeah. It can be a pretty...
of game types. Some games I don't think I really need to own, but I'm happy when I go to board game cafe, I know I want to go see this game.
It would be a lot of fun to play at a cafe too.
Group setting.
Yeah, this would be a lot of fun playing at a cafe. So if you ever see it at a cafe and you get 6 people or 5 other people with you, give it a try. It's awesome. Next up is Sand. We also recently reviewed this.
Did we?
Yes, we did. It's that forgettable. Sand is a quick pick up and deliver game that sees players traveling around the desert, visiting different towns and collecting goods and doing the usual pick up and deliver stuff that you've seen probably a million times before. So what do we think about Sand? Do we treasure it? Do we trash it? Do we throw it into the sand pile? Trash. Oh, I didn't do a countdown. Hope that didn't influence your opinion.
No, I like this game. I just don't love this game. And like you said, it's not the most memorable game.
Yeah. I think we gave it a 6 or something, and I stand by that even now. Like we played it somewhat recently, it's still kind of a 6. It's not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who like pick up and deliver games who are going to appreciate this for what it is. We are pretty mild on pick up and deliver games, so it has to be something fairly special, and this one's pretty not.
Our Tribes was a great pick up deliver type game. Yeah, it is. You do pick up pieces.
This is the issues you run into when you have like a channel with one person who's like very deep entrenched into board game terminology and all that bullshit, and one who's like really new. No pickup and
You can't coin the terminology.
I'm not coining anything. No, pick up and deliver is when like you've picked up goods from one area of a map, let's say, and you want to fulfill a contract, and so you're delivering them, you're moving your guy across the board to get rid of those goods to fill a contract in a different area of the board. That's Sand. You're just that. Whereas 5 Tribes, yes, you are physically picking up pieces, and you're delivering. I'm not
to the board. You drop a pieces.
Okay, it's Bruno Cathallo's pick up and delivery game. 5 Tribes. Does it stand up to 5 Tribes? It does not. It does not.
And that's
it's just kind of. It was just kind of boring. Like I didn't really like it. I certainly didn't hate it, but it's nothing special.
Again, I'm going back to it's a good game.
Yeah,
it's not distinct enough from all the other games that doesn't leave a lot.
Yeah, and just because things get trashed, exactly. Just because things get trashed doesn't mean they're bad games. It's just like you only have a limited amount of space in our house for certain games, and and it doesn't meet that criteria. So goodbye. And next up, Endless Winter. In Endless Winter, players develop their tribe across several generations, from nomadic hunter-gatherers to prosperous tribal societies. Over the course of the game, tribes migrate and settle new lands, establish cultural traditions, hunt Paleolithic animals, and build everlasting megalithic structures. I recently played this at a friend's house, or tried to play this at a friend's house. It had been like a year and a half, and I didn't remember a lot of the rules, and I realized when I was starting to teach it that I just didn't care, and we packed it up and played something else. And so I thought I'd bring it to the chopping block because I'm not sure if I want to continue owning it. So let's decide right now. 3, 2, 1, trash. Oh, okay. I
like this game.
I didn't even like this game.
You don't know me. I really like this game.
Okay.
I don't like the number of miniatures and how bulky the game is. I don't think it's
kind of excessive, I guess.
Yeah, it's not the game that if there were friends play something, I don't think would bring this game. It's just
my issue though is like it's a tough thing to teach new players because there's so much bullshit on the table. There's like, okay, look guys, look at this little board. See this little board here? Well, this does this. Okay, we got all of that stuff. Okay, next board. See this next board here? And you're just going through and be like, okay, I teach this now. Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah, I think part of why I like it is it's got a really strong theme. It's a really strong theme that makes...
Yeah, I guess.
And I love the animal collection cards, but that aside,
It's just set collection. You
It
collect
is.
you collect these animals and basically looking like I want 5 reindeer. Saber-tooth tigers because I get X amount of points. And you can eat them too if you want. You just reduce the amount of points you get, but you get meat.
Yeah, they're, I guess, a really strong theme. And so there's all these different small mechanisms they can add it to this theme. And it's just well done. Yeah, there's a lot of boards. And I think there's a lot of games now where there's too many boards to think about. And there's too many
mechanisms.
Yeah, there's too much to balance. And the problem with some games like that is when the theme is not strong and they feel disjointed. This game in particular, I feel that the theme was strong enough that the different components of mechanisms were still in sync. So it didn't feel like it was that painful, like, oh, I want to do this, oh, I have to do this. And plus, it also allows for that strategic play that which we enjoy, where you can go really hard at one thing or another thing in a different game.
You can try different things, different games.
Exactly. Your strategy can change between games, and you can still win in different ways. So it's not like only one approach. So
Okay.
I do
All
like
right.
this game.
Well, if it's not unanimous, then it means keep. Okay. So we will keep it. When we play it again, you better like it, or we're just going to get rid of it.
I've liked it every time.
All right. And next up is Harmonies, another game we recently reviewed, so check that out if you haven't already. Harmonies is an abstract strategy game that sees players drafting a set of 3 discs at the start of their turn, which they'll use to place on their board to complete various patterns required by animal cards they've drafted. So do we want to keep or what do we say? Trash treasure. Do you want to trash or treasure? Okay, right. Well, yeah, wait, yes.
Treasure. I love this game.
Yeah, it's really good. It's just a really good, it's a solid abstract game. I'm not a big abstract fan, but I think this fits into any collection right beside Azul and Cascadia. I think they're different enough puzzles to warrant owning all 3 of them. And this one I think is probably the heaviest of them. I say heaviest, but I'm just mean like, I think it's the biggest brain burner. Like I feel more mentally taxed when I'm playing Harmonies than I do those other 2 games. Whereas in this game, the animals are, I feel like in Cascadia, the animals are like this like constant thing, right? Because they're all just set out and you just do whatever you have to do. Whereas at Harmonies, it's just constant changing thing where, you know, like you draft a new one, you got to complete that one, then okay, you draft a new one. Like there's a lot more tactical awareness necessary in Harmonies than there is in Cascadia.
There's something about it that feels so simple, so easy to teach, so easy to talk about.
Yeah.
But then when you're playing it, it's like, okay, don't talk to me. There's a lot of things I need to talk about right now.
Yeah, it's like, leave me alone. I am solving my puzzle. I don't want to interact with you, okay?
It's so hard to fully optimize the amount of space that you have.
Just tough.
And the part I hate about this game is that Mike ruins it for me. Every single game, we're ending it because he's run out of space on his board. Every single time, it's you that run out of space on your board. And I still have space left, so I can do more. And so I feel like I'm not getting the optimal version of it. But then in a way, it's also like a race. You know, the person...
Yeah, it's player-controlled ending. So if you think you're near the end and you think you're in the lead, then you have no reason to let the game keep going. So do your best to speed it along.
Yeah, so we really enjoy this game.
It's a great game. Like I said, if you want more opinion of it, more detail, check out the review. We keep it. Up next, we have Rock Hard 1977, another game we recently reviewed. In Rock Hard, you'll play as an aspiring musician trying to carve their way into the industry by making mixtapes, writing songs, honing their skills, performing at venues, and consuming way too much candy. So, what do we think of Rock Hard 1977? Do we want to treasure it or do we want to tabletop trash it? 3, 2, 1.
Trash.
Yeah, trash. Go ahead. Okay.
Canadians.
So, it's a good game. We'll probably just say the same thing. It's a good game when you first play, even maybe your second playthrough.
Yes.
You're like, wow, this is so much fun. You're like reading these cards that pop up. You know, it's an adventure. I compared this to Elderil, and it kind of is. Like you go around this map, you know, not exploring. Well, yeah, exploring the seedy night scene and you know, playing at dive bars. You know, quit your job and stuff. Become a rock star, and you get to read like, oh, I got genital warts, boo, or oh, I'm getting drunk tonight. You know, when you read them from the cards, it's fun. It's fun. But the problem is that funness, you know, that uniqueness of reading those cards, it wears off. And at some point, you're just looking at the card and being like, okay, this gives me +1 to my chops, and this gives me a +2 to my whatever. And then you just toss it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the novelty of this game was really cool. Listening to music while playing the game was a fun thing. Mm-hmm. But I want to create a new category. It's just board game cafe games.
It is.
Like are definitely worth the experience, but might not be worth keeping in collection.
Yeah, worth it to try, not worth it to buy.
Oh, we should have a new video called that.
Rhymes.
Worth trying, but not to buy.
But again, thank you for sending it along to us, Devere. We appreciate it. We just didn't. I don't think this game is for us, but I could see families, liking it.
And if you're a fan of both 70s rock stars in general,
Sure.
or
just becoming a rock star.
Yeah, if you ever had a dream of that, this is a cool game to try for that.
That's true. It'll bring you closer to your dream.
But not really.
Not really. Not at all. Okay, goodbye. And up next is Loot. In Loot, players control a horde of Vikings, raiding the mainland, capturing buildings, stealing the Englishman's cute little sheeps, and just racking up as much riches as possible while getting in your opponent's way at every turn till you are crowned the Jarl of the Vikings. Do we want to treasure or trash Loot? 3, 2, 1, trash. I mean treasure.
Treasure.
I said the opposite of what my thumb was saying. Yeah, Loot is it's a hell of a lot of fun, and it's so wonderfully mean if you want it to be. If you want it to be mean. I love playing to be mean in this game.
I don't love mean ever.
Because if you have two components where you're placing tiles on your own board, but to get those tiles, you first have to maneuver and place out your Vikings on the main board. And I love spending, you have these one powers, these three powers you can use, but you can only use them one time.
Yeah.
And using them at just right moment to block off your opponent from him getting or her getting a castle or something or a house. It always feels good. And it becomes this cat and mouse game. Oh, should I use my double placement? But if I use my double placement, she might use this. And yeah.
I never tried to be mean. I'm so glad I never.
That's what makes the game so fun for me.
So I guess in a way that's pretty cool that we like very different things and we both still enjoy this game very much.
Yeah.
I don't like mean stuff at all, but I still really enjoy this game. So well done. Another example of such a simple game and super intuitive, but still so much strategy.
Yeah, my turns never feel obvious.
And it never feel like they take a long time either.
No,
something so short is very quick and it's very easy to do, but it still feels like it's got really good depth.
I'm always okay with, I think I've got a lot of comments saying you just hate light games because I shat on Harvest and stuff. I'm okay with light games, but you just have to give me some semblance of choice. You have to give me some semblance of depth.
Why? Because be a good game.
Just be a good game. And this game is a good game.
Listen, I don't think this game is really very short, but it's short enough that you feel like you get to the good stuff and you have it for a little while, and then it ends when you still want more.
Absolutely.
And then you want to play it again.
So if you want more information, check out our review of it. We're going to keep it.
Absolutely. Treasure it.
And up next is the talk of the town, everybody's favorite game in the entire world except some people, Arcs. Arcs is a sci-fi strategy game where players play cards to perform actions using a trick-taking mechanic, all to exert their dominance to the galaxy, gather resources, and engage in a little diplomatic intrigue. So, do we want to keep this game that literally every content creator is telling you it's the greatest game of all existence? 3, 2, 1, ready? Treasure! Oh, why?
Unpopular
yeah, you don't like this game.
I do not like this game.
We're in the process. We've played it 4 times now, so we're in this process of reviewing. We have to play 6, 7, 8 more times. And I can tell that Kim is not a fan.
Really?
Yeah.
For me, sitting on the trash.
But I really like it. I think it's great. So I'm very excited for the review because it's going to be basically a love and hate review.
I think that's also why we wanted to create this channel together, is that there are a lot of games where we like very different things, where we both love. And there are a lot of games like this where there are parts I like and there are parts he loves, and we clearly have a very different opinion about this game.
This game is very confrontational, so it's not going to be for everybody. But part of the thing that I love about it is the fact that it's so confrontational, and it's unique within its confrontation. On the one hand, you are throwing another player's individual pawns into prison, or you're stealing their resources from them, or you're stealing their cards from them, or you're attacking their planets, or you're
he likes to be mean,
or you're just burning down their buildings. There's so many opportunities. You're blowing up their spaceships. There's just opportunities to be
cruel.
Not cruel,
selfish,
tactical, and strategic. But there's lots of other things I like about this game. I also like that a lot of it's player controlled. I feel a ton of power and agency whenever I play this game. The fact that you can set up.
Don't inflate his ego and give him power.
No, but when you set up the victory conditions or the point scoring conditions, I really like that. I like when games provide that. It's really cool.
Yeah, well, you can decide, like, as the players themselves decide what will determine the victory. And it's just something like that.
Yeah, and like the trick-taking element. I hate trick-taking games, but in this, it just works. It works really well. Even though I completely understand an individual's criticism of the game where they say, like, it can be really random. Because you can't get that hand of cards where, like, you really want to score the prisoner thing, but you can't because you don't have that card in your hand.
Yeah, I think sometimes for us too, I'm sure we've experienced it where the luck element for certain games for some people, like for me in this game and the cards, it just feels so unfair and there's so little you can do about it that the whole game sucks. Like some games, it's all from rotation and only that. If you don't do that, if for this game, for example, if I don't want to invade someone else's places, there's nothing else I can do. There's very little to what you can do to just focus on, in a way, like an engine building kind of thing.
You
like
kind of do that here, but at some point,
very limited.
At some point, if you don't go looking for confrontation, it's going to find you. Somebody's coming knocking at your door for your stuff, and it's going to be me. So I'm going to keep this. Check out our review. It's probably coming somewhat soon. It'll be controversial, I guess. At least, well, your hatred of it. Everybody seems to like it.
I just don't love it. I just would be happy never playing it again.
Okay, well, we're keeping it. This is a play with the boys game, I guess. All right, keep this. Up next is, oh my god, this is deceptively heavy. SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. In SETI, you lead a scientific institution tasked with searching for traces of life beyond planet Earth. You'll explore nearby planets and their moons by launching probes from Earth while taking advantage of ever-shifting planetary positions. Decide whether to land or to surface to collect valuable samples, or stay in orbit for a broader survey. This is one of those games. We played at PAX really recently. We've played about 3 times. We're probably going to have a review coming soon. It was demoed to us by the very lovely Eleni. What do we think about this? Do we want to keep it? Do we want to
treasure it?
Do we want to treasure it? Do we want to trash it? Let's do one treasure.
Treasure for me as well.
Yeah. That's funny because I didn't think you liked it that much.
I don't like it
The friends
that
we
much.
played with it loved it. They loved it.
Yeah.
I like it quite a bit. They loved it.
So we played this, so we tried it at PAX and we literally brought it home and that night we played it.
Yeah, we did. Even though we were all just like worn out and tired.
Yeah, I was ready to go to bed. Like I was tired. My feet were hurting. I was not up for it. But at the same time, I was like, I do want to try it.
Yeah, we watched Eleni's tutorial video on this. She works for Czech games. If you ever want to learn a Czech game, just check out her videos. She makes some of the best tutorials online, I think. We actually just sat down, we watched her video, and then straight away we started playing. And I had a lot of fun, even though I sucked. Your first couple of plays this game are going to be a little sluggish, trying to get a hold of all the stuff. And tabletop turtle strategy tip of the day. Strategy. It's like an interlude.
I see.
Strategy tip of the day. When you first play this game, okay, your first 2 rounds should be primarily about making sure you have an income. Okay, so you should be playing cards and doing actions that provide you an income for later turns. Because if you don't do that, it will be really hard. The game will be hard on you and you will have a bad time because everybody else will be generating like, I have this much energy, I have this much coins, and you were just like,
I have to comment on that. I get that strategy tip, but this is, I guess, a part I don't like about the game. It's so hard to get stuff to add.
It is a difficult game.
The income happens by you have this one card off the side and you stack cards underneath it. And the bottom of the card has some item, whether
Provides you a
it's
resource.
Resources, exactly. And that is your income. And you'll be getting that at the end of every round. It's so hard to find that icon to slot another card under to increase that income. So even though like
those spots are rare. Yeah, the ones that allow you to slot cards, those are rare.
It's on some of the cards. But the spots on the board, it's on planets when you go and orbit a planet. And it's so hard to go orbit a planet in the first place. So it's really hard to build up the income.
Yeah. Part of the fun of the game is the tightness to which you are playing.
Slow build, fast.
Yeah, exactly. Like every resource you have counts. Yeah, it's not like the game we have in front of us right now, which is Andromedas Edge, where like, most of the things you're doing is like rewards. Here, have this. In this game, no, you're scratching and crawling.
Really efficient.
You have to be efficient.
How you spend your resources.
And that can be fun sometimes.
It is. I think it's really fun.
Yeah, and that's why we're keeping this. Up next is, oh my god, this is also very heavy. Deashi.
Daitoshi.
Deashi is a worker placement game where players work to make the city inhabitable by electrifying its districts, discovering new inventions, and trading with faraway cities. but you have to be careful because if you encroach too far into the wilds, you'll anger the spirits of the land. So are we going to be keeping this in 3, 2, 1? Trash.
Trash.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those games that is not a bad game.
I really wish
it's actually pretty decent. I think, I'm not sure what I gave it. I might have gave it a 6 or a 7, but I have warmed on a little, and I would give it a 7. It is a good game, but it's not a great game. In our collection, there's only room for great games. I can't have games that are just like, yeah, that was good. But I don't crave this game. Like, there's lots of components that I enjoy. You know, I love the fact that you sort of has this like semi-cooperative nature to its design where you're sort of building out the board together. I like that.
Other people can produce too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like stuff like that. There's a lot of mechanisms that I really appreciate, but for whatever reason, with them all together, it feels very clunky and cumbersome and not particularly enjoyable.
This was, I would say, my most disappointing game, as in I really loved some components of this game and some mechanisms, but I also really didn't like some other things.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think this game ended up being for me. I love the whole middle wheel component, and then you build the parts and a lot of the actions, the putting your specific colored workers, a lot of that stuff I loved. The way the game scores, that I really didn't like. I didn't feel like it made a lot of sense, the different ways to get victory points, like the 4 different tracks. I don't think that made sense to the game, and this is where I felt like sometimes a strong theme helps the game go so far, because this felt disjointed, felt clunky.
So yeah, if you want more information on it, we went into way more detail in our review of the game, which, oh shoot, we didn't publish that yet. Never mind, coming soon. Yes, but yeah, we're getting rid of this one. Up next, we have the surprisingly light game, because I've emptied the box, because it's in front of us. Andromedas Edge, which I guess we shouldn't have in front of us, because you're hidden. Andromedas Edge. In Andromeda's Edge, you'll be building a new civilization by gathering resources, claiming moons, acquiring modules to add to your station, and populating planets, all to gain supremacy in the galaxy. So Andromeda's Edge is a game we played actually really recently. We just had a friend come over yesterday. You played it for your first time. This would have been my second time playing it. And let's just do it. Do we trash it? Do we treasure it? 3, 2, 1, treasure. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I was watching, before I was thinking about this game, I was watching like content creators just gush over it. And I was like, oh, can't be that good. Because I'm a curmudgeon at heart, I think. It's like, oh, bitch.
That's hard in all senses of the word, in reality.
Good. And then I played it and I was like, yeah, okay, this is pretty damn awesome. It's fun. It's pretty fun. We already liked Dwellings of Elderil.
I love Dwellings of Elderil.
Yeah, she loves it. I really like it. I think, we haven't talked about this yet. I think this is better. I think this is a better game.
Or definitely improved on certain parts of it.
Yeah, like the targeting system.
I know the
combat.
In technicality, I know it's better because of all the improved components, but I don't know yet.
I think
I like that.
I would say this. I think Dwellings is a more charming game. Yeah. It's more charming. It has a different feel and vibe to it. Yes. These all sound very vague. Sorry, but
something that's
it's easier to teach too.
Really simple. That game
it's easy to teach.
It's complex. I mean, both big box games, really big.
It has some depth, yeah, but it's like really easy to teach.
I'm still learning different strategies for it. I'm still learning different approaches. So.
Yeah, and we're in that phase right now because we only played she played once, I played 3 times, but we're both in that like early excitement phase. So we have to play it more just to make sure whether that excitement maintains or whether it sort of fades away. Because you never want to review a game after like 3 plays because you might be like, yeah, this is the weirdest game of all time, and then a year later you're just never talking about it.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that's a really big thing. I see a lot of people. I see a lot of our friends and people we know online and stuff too. Like they do that, right? Like where at some point they're like, this is the world's greatest game, and then you never hear about it after. Yeah,
absolutely. It's definitely something we're going to have to play a lot more just to see whether or not that greatness fades away. So we'll probably look out for a review of it sometime soon. And we're also going to do...
Soon. We have to play like at least 10 more times.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay, maybe in a couple months. But I have a funny feeling it might sneak its way into our top 10 games of the year. Maybe. Oh, I don't know. I did give this an S in my tier ranking, so it'd be weird if it didn't end up there, which is a video we should be watching out soon. Like I said, we played this at PAX, and it was really enjoyable. It was really enjoyable. We ended up meeting the designer, Luke, and he was really rad, and he was really nice and warm, and everybody at Cardboard Alchemy and Lucky Duck were all cool, and they helped us teach the game. And this is like this is the end of the night. They didn't have to do any of this. They had a lot of like other stuff
Like
they
the
had to
last
be doing.
hour of the friendship.
Yeah.
I saw people like so exhausted from this whole long weekend.
So if you guys are watching this, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We love your game, and this is definite.
The like highlight of our whole trip.
It was, yeah. So this is a definite keep for us. Yeah. I look forward.
It's a treasure.
Treasure. It's just treasure. Treasure. Yeah, we're gonna keep this for a long time. And now we will decide, because it's perfectly related, do we treasure or trash Dwellings of Eldervale? Dwellings of Eldervale is an epic worker placement game set in a once lost magical world. Giant elemental monsters roam while dragons, wizards, and warriors battle for dominance to grow in power and control Eldervale.
I feel like this is even a conversation right now.
Well, we just played its pseudo replacement, so we have to make the tough call now.
No.
Do we treasure or trash this? 3, 2, 1. Treasure, I think.
They're not the same game.
I mean, they're pretty damn similar. They're pretty damn similar.
Okay, I get why people can say that they're similar, but they're not the same game.
No, it's not the same game, but it has a lot of the same mechanisms. And
So do many games, but they still justify a different game if the theme is different enough and the play is different and the experience of the whole game is different. I also agree. I also think that if you can have different types of strategies for the games, then they're different games. They're different games.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I do really like Dwellings.
I still love Dwellings. There is no...
But the question becomes, like, can you honestly see us playing this over Andromeda's Edge?
Yes.
When a friend comes over. Why?
Yes.
Well, why? Why would we do that?
Because you can make people into houses. I do feel the Dwellings is like the more, I don't know, simple version of it. Simple's the wrong
It's
word.
friendlier.
It is friendlier. I don't know. I feel like this is the more fun version, and this is the more, and Andromeda's Edge is the more intense version. Like Andromeda's Edge is the more strategic, intense version, and Dwellings is more the lighthearted, fun version of it.
Yeah, I don't see. So I don't see a purpose to eliminating this game because you own Andromeda's Edge. I think they can both sort of live together on your shelf. However, if you owned neither, I don't think it'd be a good idea to buy both. They're both pretty expensive. Like if so, tying out cash.
If you own neither.
If you own neither, it would depend on your audience.
Yes.
Are your audience consists of individuals who don't mind longer games, who don't mind like, okay guys, we're gonna sit here and learn rules for about 30 minutes. You okay with that? They're both longish. Yeah. But Andromeda's Edge is a harder game. So if that's your audience, then yeah, go Andromeda's Edge. If your audience is like, sometimes you'll have people over who don't play a lot of games, you could still teach Dwellings pretty easily. And they'll understand and they'll have a lot of fun.
I would almost say that Dwellings is probably more for everybody.
A little bit, yeah.
And Dwellings is probably the everybody game, and Andromeda's Edge is probably your hardcore board game friend.
Yeah, as pretentious as that sounds, it's kind of true. It is kind of true.
And thematically as well, something about Dwellings, the fantasy type.
It's charming, like I said.
Yeah, it's very appealing. It's very easy. It's the same as like I would say D&D is everybody's RPG. Mm-hmm. Like anybody can kind of jump into it and play. Dwellings is that version as well. Like it's an anybody board game.
Yeah. So I think it's definitely worth owning both. We're gonna keep it, I guess. So
there is no question about it. I don't know why I was in this video at all. It was always gonna be.
I think it's a question that was worth asking.
No.
That about wraps it up for treasure or trash tabletop turtles, treasure or trash alliteration adventure. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. It is hard to curate a very tight board game collection, but you have to. Okay, don't become one of those people in the episode of Hoarders where you get buried and then all of a sudden they find dead cats in your thing, even though you don't even own cats.
Some people's heaven is having a whole apartment from floor to ceiling stacked with board games.
That's true. But one day you'll get buried in them, and then they'll find dead cats. It doesn't matter whether you own dead cats.
Being buried in board games is somebody's heaven.
It's somebody's fetish, I guess. All right, bye.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
See you later.